Today on Monkey Life, Hujan, the smallest orangutan at the park, gets to meet one of the largest, Tuan.
Hujan's a little bit mind-boggled with meeting the big guy. It's a big, scary experience for him for the first time.
Stumpy Sam has a dental checkup, and his decay causes dismay.
Just on sort of opening his mouth, we can see pus and trapped food around his teeth, so I think quite a few are going to have to come out.
And the spider monkeys hightail it when they discover challenging treats in their enclosure. Monkey World in Dorset, buried deep in the English countryside, is the largest sanctuary of its kind on the planet. The team, led by Dr. Alison Cronin, rescue and rehabilitate abused and unwanted primates from all over the world.
And I don't know how long she's lived here, but she's been here long enough to know that this is it.
The park provides a home for more than 260 monkeys and apes from 24 different species. It's been 3 months since the park welcomed its newest orangutan, 2-year-old Hujan. The young male, who came from a zoo in Germany after being rejected by his mum, is a bundle of energy and has settled into his new life in Tuan's group incredibly well. He's now met all 4 females and is spending time outside with them, a sure sign of how happy and confident he is.
Morning, guys. Here you go.
Little Hujan has also come face to face with the big man himself.
Tuan, come here. Good boy.
They only had contact through the mesh, and, with Owen and Roro on hand for reassurance, the session went really well.
No, Owen. Good girl. Good girl.
It also helped that primate carekeeper James smeared honey all over the mesh to distract the pair as they sat side by side. Now the orangutan team are confident Hujan is ready for the next big step: physical contact with the large dominant male.
So we've left Tuan till last in the group. Obviously, he's a lot stronger, a lot bigger than the other females. And we wanted Hujan to almost be in his comfort zone with some of the females first. Roro's really taking him on very, very well at the moment, and really looking after him brilliantly. So now he's feeling quite comfortable amongst all of the girls in here. It's time to introduce him to the big man, and hopefully things will go the way we want it to.
The team take every precaution as they maneuver the pair into position.
All the padlocks. Got all the padlocks ready. This one is ready. Open up this one.
Jeremy arrives to supervise the introduction. Jarno spreads jam on the mesh as a form of distraction. The main slide between the bedrooms is opened, and Tuan comes straight through.
You good boy, Tuani boy. That's it, go for a row.
Hujan keeps a tight hold of Roro. Tuan is more interested in mating with Roro than checking out the small, bemused bundle of fur clinging on tight to her back. Then, still not showing any interest in Hujan, Tuan goes off in search of food.
Hujan's a little bit mind-boggled with meeting the big guy. It's a big, scary experience for him for the first time, but it couldn't have gone better than that, to be honest. Tuan, as we kind of expected, went straight away to mate with Roro, but Hujan stayed around the back, stayed in a safe position, and Tuan didn't seem to be bothered with him at all. And as soon as that mating took place, Roro's generally been staying out of his way, keeping an eye on things whereabouts he is. But Tuan's being very gentle with his approach, very relaxed in his body language as well. So it could not have gone really better than that, to be honest.
For the next 20 minutes, Hujan keeps a watchful eye on Tuan, without moving more than an arm's length from Roro. Tuan carries on eating with no sign of aggression. The team decide to call it a day
There you go.
and end on a positive note. In a few days' time, they'll bring the pair together again, and hopefully, Hujan will feel more relaxed and confident now that he's overcome his biggest challenge so far. At the Stumpy enclosure, the group are outside relaxing in the warm sunshine and enjoying each other's company. But one of the Stumpies is not his usual self. Leader Sam has been a bit grumpy over the past few days and seems to be in pain.
Sam's still a very calm, nice, placid individual generally, and the times when he has reacted aggressively to the staff are generally times when he's had his recent dental problems, when we've thought that quite possibly that's when it's affecting him more, because as soon as we sort of adjust his medication, put him on the painkillers, he sort of settles down again. So it's been quite a good way for us to judge his mood.
The team have decided to call in the local vet to take a look. Sam has been anaesthetised by hand injection and transferred to the park's animal hospital.
In the last couple of months, we've noticed some facial swellings around his muzzle. Well, actually one on both sides, but the one on his right-hand side has come up. With antibiotics, it's gone down, and then it's come back up again. So we are expecting some quite rotten teeth in there and potentially some abscesses. So we've knocked him down to have a good look inside his mouth and take out any teeth we need to.
Vet Holly gives Sam's teeth a quick once-over.
Ooh, yeah. Oh, we're going to have a busy day. They're pretty grim.
And it's immediately obvious the procedure won't be straightforward.
His teeth are looking pretty nasty. Just on sort of opening his mouth, we can see pus and trapped food around his teeth, so I think quite a few are going to have to come out. His breath is evil.
Good.
Stumpies are notorious for chewing on anything they can find, including stones. So it's no surprise that at 32 years of age, Sam's teeth are in a bit of a state.
Well, so far we've just started at the front and we've found that his canine tooth is broken halfway through and up above the level of his gum. So it's rotten and infected, and it's obviously what's causing the swelling on that side of his face. So it's a big old job, but we're going to take it out.
With the root of the canine broken, removing it in one piece is going to be tricky.
This is so rotten.
By cutting into the gum and peeling back the flap of skin, Holly exposes the bone holding the broken canine.
Just, you have to get the bone away and like take the tooth out sideways. Because you can't wiggle it because of the curve on it, you'll just snap it in the jaw.
Using a machine she's brought with her specifically for such a job, she can drill away the bone and expose the very tip of the tooth's root. It's a long job. The tooth is so rotten it keeps breaking apart. Sam has now been under for more than an hour.
Right, we're right at the end now. We've just got a tiny little bit to come out, and then that's it. Thank heavens.
Finally, the affected canine is removed.
It's all out. Poor kid.
Holly flushes out the hole left by the extraction and then stitches the gum together. She would like to move on to Sam's other poor teeth, but the aging macaque has already been under anaesthetic for a long time, and she's reluctant to start another extraction.
So that is the other swelling. So it's, well, it's either that one or that one. Yeah, I mean, to take out these two, it's going to be like an hour. It's probably better off just leaving be. It's draining.
The team decide to err on the side of caution.
Let's wake him up.
But bringing elderly Sam round from such a long procedure isn't straightforward.
Sam's been under anaesthetic for a really long time, so he's just taking a long time to recover from it. Because he's quite old, his liver won't be as efficient as in a younger animal, so he'll be processing his drugs a lot more slowly. He's taking a bit longer to come around than we were expecting him to, so we're just trying to stimulate him and get him awake enough so that he can go back to his house.
It's almost 2 hours before Sam's recovered enough to be taken back to the Stumpy house. He'll be a bit sore for a few days, but a course of antibiotics and anti-inflammatories will help, and he should be back to his old self in no time. It's been a few days since young female chimp Topperish went outside for the first time. She arrived at the park 6 months ago from a zoo in Istanbul, and integrating her into Bart's group is taking time. When she first ventured into the large outdoor enclosure, she touched the electric fence and went scampering back indoors. This is an important part of the learning process for new chimps. The fence is there for their welfare and protection, and keeps them safely inside their enclosure. The care team and Topperish's new chimp pals are hoping she'll do better today. This time she's with a slightly larger group, including her new friends, Chatter and Buster. The team hope the more chimps she sees enjoying the enclosure, the more she'll realise she has nothing to fear. But Topperish is still reluctant to venture out, and only makes it halfway down the tunnel. Even some positive encouragement from Chatter, who comes back to see what's keeping Topperish, can't persuade her.
I think once she finally does take the leap and goes out there, I think she's going to have a whale of a time out there. She's very confident inside. We've seen that confidence has been knocked a little bit to begin with, but we saw that when we first started doing the introductions, and she's completely built her confidence back up again as we've gone through the introduction. So I think we'll get to a point where she'll be herring around and having a whale of a time out here.
It's left to Buster to physically lead Topperish down the tunnel. But even a high-ranking male can't change her mind. Overcoming her fears and joining the rest of the group may take a bit longer than expected. The park's care team do their best to make feeding time for the primates as naturally challenging as they can. At the spider monkey enclosure, Donna is filling some large see-through water bottles with yogurt and sweet corn. Spider monkeys are suspensory feeders. They spend the majority of their time gathering food and water by hanging from branches, using their incredibly strong and long prehensile tails. Donna is hoping that, by attaching the bottles above the ground, the three primates will be encouraged to feed as they would in nature.
What we like to do with our spider monkeys here at the park, every time we feed them, is to try and get them to do that natural behaviour, because that's how they should naturally feed. We've got to work to put their arms into the bottle through the top, which is quite difficult for the spider monkeys. They don't have a thumb, so it's quite difficult for them to manipulate things like other primates would normally do. So it'll be really interesting to see how they get on.
When the slide opens, it's no surprise that the front runner is greedy female Pumpkin. But unexpectedly, she's followed out by the old man of the group, Hickory, with Flint close behind. Food-focused Pumpkin trills her excitement and heads straight for one of the water bottles. Some have had holes cut out, so the spider monkeys can reach through with their hands and even their arms. Others are just open at the neck. Pumpkin can't work out how to reach the yogurt and sweet corn coated on the inside of the bottle. Flint shows her how it's done, using his prehensile tail as an anchor as he reaches down and grabs some corn. Spider monkeys' tails can support their whole body weight, freeing up their hands and feet for the tricky task of grasping food. And Flint has put his to good use. Hickory is now 27 and tends to be less active and boisterous than the other two, leaving them to tuck in first. Instead, he has fun playing with a small camera in the enclosure. Pumpkin still hasn't mastered the correct technique and is making do with small scrapes of yogurt. Flint has definitely triumphed today. He successfully raided the majority of the bottles, leaving poor Pumpkin a little perplexed. It's not every day he gets one over on his assertive female friend. Across the park at Hananya's, the chimps are all out enjoying the sunshine. The majority of this group have grown up together over the last 20 years. And while there may be the odd scuffle or disagreement, the troop are pretty settled and content in each other's company.
Yeah, Hananya's community is actually a really interesting group at the moment. We went through a stage where we were introducing a lot of individuals into this group, particularly young females, and had a great deal of success with that, really. But it's been sort of 6-7 years now since we've introduced anyone, and individuals are starting to mature and develop, and relationships are changing and characters are emerging. So it's been an interesting group to watch.
The alpha male and leader of the troop is 25-year-old Hananya. He arrived at the park in 1996, having been smuggled into Israel for the illegal pet trade. There are 3 other males in the group. Fun-loving and boisterous Shamak arrived with Hananya from the Middle East. While second in command, Simon was found tethered to a post at a petrol station in Spain. He's an astute and thoughtful chimp, a perfect foil for the big boss. Finally, there's Arthur, the lowest ranking of the males. He arrived from Windsor Safari Park in 1993. He's always been a little reticent, but is more relaxed these days, thanks mainly to his love for little Thelma, the youngster of the group. 14 females make up the rest of the gang, and today most of them are taking advantage of the good weather. Cherry has long been top of the female hierarchy in the group. Having a baby increases the status of females, but as Cherry was already number 1, the birth of her daughter Thelma 6 years ago changed her individual priorities. Now she takes more of a protective role, looking out for her youngster. She's still a significant female in the group, but not as formidable as she was. That's created an opportunity for one of the other females, Johnny, to try her luck.
I think Johnny, certainly personality-wise, is pretty fearless, but also physically, she's a magnificent-looking animal. She's very athletic. She's very tall as a female, and so physically I think she's stronger than a lot of the other females in the group, and can also give some of the weedier males a run for their money. She certainly has her sights on the top spot.
Johnny was a surprise birth at the park in 1999. Her dad was the dominant male Paddy. Her mum Clin rejected her and she was hand-reared, before graduating to the nursery. Part of Hananya's group since 2007, she's made strong alliances with some of the top females and likes to throw her weight around.
She likes to let everyone know that she can take more than her fair share, and there's not a lot that anyone can do about it. And that's true of the boys as well. I mean, Simon will discipline Johnny, but one-on-one he is fearful of her, and Hananya doesn't really discipline Johnny, so she's kind of got it made, really, and there's not a lot standing in her way.
But the most popular member of the group is little Thelma, who's growing up fast and could one day be a top female herself.
High-ranking mum, alpha male as dad, she's kind of set up to succeed, really, and I think, you know, she's had such a great start in life, born into a really great community and a settled community. There's been very little changes since Thelma's been born, so I think her future looks bright and she'll certainly be a high-ranking individual.
It's been 3 weeks since the team had to step in and begin hand-rearing 2 newly born slow loris. Sadly, they'd become detached from Mum Nikki. Unfortunately, one of the twins didn't survive the week. But its sibling, nicknamed Bob, although no one is entirely sure if it's male or female yet, has responded well.
He's now active, he's got a bad attitude, tells us what he wants and he likes, and has actually started playing a little bit. He'll actually hang upside down and make little Loris play face with an open mouth. So I'm really pleased. It's still early days, 3 weeks, and he's still tiny, but we're going great guns. I think we're ticking most boxes now, and his teeth are coming in great guns. So he's been teething over the past week now. You can see him chewing on my hand a little bit right now. So he's digging those little pointy gums in. Do you have an itch?
The infant has started to put on weight.
It's looking like 47.
Bob was 34 grams when he was born and has now increased his body weight by more than a third.
I think we've really started putting on muscle. You can feel in his grip and his strength that he's actually doing really well. I know you don't like being upside down.
The future of the loris worldwide is under threat from habitat loss and the wildlife trade. But it's the unsustainable demand from the exotic pet business and from traditional medicine that's been the greatest cause of their decline. This tragic scenario has led Monkey World's sister sanctuary in Vietnam, Dao Tien, to rescue, rehabilitate and finally release back into the wild 65 lorises to date. Just 2 years ago, the park also set up a loris complex in Dorset. Its aim? To rehabilitate and house those who can't be put back into the forest where they belong. It's also part of a breeding programme for Bengal slow loris, which has enjoyed some success. Although it's left Alison with her hands full.
That's the whole point of Bob's existence right now, is learning how to deal with this species that's coming, that is endangered, that's under threat around the globe, basically. I mean, they only come from Asia, but having said that, they're being sold around the globe for the pet trade. And then also, on a selfish note, if you will, I'm hoping that this little one will become the perfect companion and mate for Nora. So we've got his future all planned out. Still can't say 100% that it's a boy, but I've got all my fingers and toes crossed. And I think it might be. Quite content.
Next time on Monkey Life, Vet Thazar is called in to examine squirrel monkeys Azzy and Charlie. And there's devastating news for their carers.
Ay, ay, ay. I wonder if it's all the same cancer that is spread.
And it's a scramble for ice lollies in the orangutan nursery. But O'Sheen's got it licked.